Hey, welcome to Estate Planning Weekly. I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate. We get together weekly and talk about all things related to estate planning. And sometimes it's very glamorous and high tech and high touch, luxurious assets and collectibles. And sometimes it's junk. And if as a fiduciary and as a real estate agent that works with fiduciaries and attorneys, the junk is part of the process, got to be taken care of. And through the fiduciary roundtable at San Gabriel Valley, I met Xavier Figueroa. We spoke a bit. We're lucky to have him here. He's the proprietor of LA Trash Junkers. Xavier, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on today, Bill. I'm really happy to be here.
A little behind the scenes, we actually did start this podcast, and I was a fidgeter, and I caused my microphone to stop, and we had to restart here. So we're going to try to retrace our steps a little bit. So Xavier, tell us a little bit about how you got into the trash business. What was it that went from the guy you in? How long you been in it, and what was the initial impetus?
So we're gonna hit our 4-year mark this June, and my whole life I've always been working towards owning my own business, and I had been in the aerospace industry after getting out of the Marine Corps, and after many years I had burned out pretty much from the long hours, and I saw a video on YouTube about junk removal, and I thought to myself, I can do that. But luckily, my wife, she supported my decision, and she let me sell our house, and we used the proceeds to buy the truck and start the business. So we went all in.
Well, first, shout out to the wife, man. Good job there. And second, thanks for your service. So, anybody who goes to your website, latrashjunkers.com, you have a video of you driving up in the truck. And as I said, Xavier, previously, I think your best marketing would be let your customer have a free ride of the truck. Every time they order with you, you'll get some more business. So let's talk a little bit about how do you get involved in fiduciary cases? I mean, I get that people need to remove junk and trash, but of all places, how is it you get involved with attorneys or states and remove trash for a family like that?
So I'm really fortunate now that we're just a referral-based business. We don't do any paid advertising.
Wow.
So the fiduciary roundtable allowed me to meet a lot of fiduciaries, and I've been able to just build trust with them. And our approach to cleaning out properties is we approach it with a compassionate we pride ourselves on being non-judgmental. So when we come in, we're able to assess the situation. And a lot of families, they're in distress. They've never encountered a situation like this before. And fortunately, I have a lot of professionals in my network that I'm able to refer out my clients to really make sure that they're taken care of, especially in these vulnerable times when emotions are high and they're not really sure how to proceed.
It's so important. You talk about being non-judgmental. I know oftentimes people refer to mom or dad as a hoarder. And while that's an issue, many times it's just that they're older and it's easier to buy groceries and it is to order things in the house than it is to package up and take out, whether it be trash or things that need to be donated. I know my wife and I kind of struggle as well. We're in our mid-60s, and I'm sure as we get older, that challenge goes on. And over time, you end up with a bunch of stuff. Even the most neat and clean house, however, in my experience, if you have very you have valuables to sell and you have an estate sale to sell items, you have mementos to take. At the end, you still have junk. You still need somebody to go in and remove that. And it's about when you use the word compassion. It really strikes me that when we're professionals, we should know the distinction between just removing junk and there's an emotional situation. So talk a little bit about maybe the delicate emotions people have in these circumstances.
It's kind of funny too, that I've noticed like everyone seems to have tendencies to hold on to items. I know me personally, when we first moved into our last house, we put a box into one room, and when we sold the house 3 years later, we picked up that same box and put it on the U-Haul. And I to this day, I'm still not even sure what's in that box.
I'm older than you. I'm married 30 or 39 years. We've moved a few times, and we have boxes that we've moved from house to house, and we've never opened them. Wow, look at this.
Yeah. So I just being able to come in and help clean up the estate and prepare it for the estate. So looking for those valuables, those important documents, the sentimental items. Just from our experience, we tend to have good judgment on what's junk and what items we should set aside for the family. We also work closely with the family to make sure that we don't take away any items that they don't want us to take away. So we'll help them sort through the items and really make sure that the valuable items, sentimental items, are kept to the side.
So that requires some trust, right? Because theoretically, somebody hires you to take out junk, and you find, and I've had it happen with other companies I've used. They'll find a couple $1,000s worth of gold coins, or they'll find a baseball card collection that maybe somebody not paying attention would think it's just junk, and you open it up and you realize, whoa, there's a Mickey Mantle card or a Nolan Ryan card that's worth a lot of money. So talk a little bit about how does that come up, and what's your role in that process?
So for example, we recently did it was about an 8 truckload clean out from a 3-story condo, but the house was full, and it was in a very bad condition. And so the trustees had inherited the property, and they had no idea what was inside of the condo. Me and my team, we came in and we sorted through everything. And at the end of the day, we had it was about a 20-gallon tote filled with jewelry. And these jewelry pieces, we were finding them on the floor, intermingled with the trash on the floor, just strewn all about the condo. And so when we were finished with the clean out, I called the trustees and I said, "Hey, I have some jewelry for you." And I showed up with the tote, and they were just amazed that that I was able to find all that jewelry for them, and just that they had the trust in me to deliver those items. Because I tell everyone that we don't need the items to be successful. We're going to be successful because of the relationships and the trust that we have with the fiduciaries and attorneys that we work with.
So yeah, I think that's when you hire somebody to do something, sometimes you don't anticipate every possible situation, and when you have a relationship, they're looking out for you. As a fiduciary myself, sometimes on small matters, it makes me look good, and that I can go back and report to whoever referred me my business. Hey, we found this, and it's not that maybe $3 or $5 or $10,000 found is all that much money in the big scheme of things, but it really says, hey, we're honest, we're hardworking, and we're going to do our best to protect you and your interests. So that's fantastic. Now, there's a difference between just trash out and when there is hoarding. I know that sometimes you'll find pests, you'll find, rats, you'll find other animals, cats. I've seen guns. I've seen both registered and unregistered guns. I had a client situation that was hoarding where they had both legal guns and illegal guns that we had to deal with. So kind of how do you deal with the totality and the mixture of all those pieces? Are you at the center of that, or do you have vendors that remove the pests that you work with, or does a trustee do that? How does that get handled?
So we do cleanouts where we find the pest infestations, and for the most part, we're able to do the clean out, working among that type of condition. But we do have people that we refer out to. So like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I completely went blank. Bill, can you repeat your question?
Talk about different vendors where maybe it's not just trash, but it's rodents, or it's termites, or it's some other specialist vendor that you need to bring into a situation.
Yeah, so through my networking, I've been able to meet a lot of professionals and trustworthy people. Every situation that we come across will require different professionals. And like, for example, we did a clean out where we found a rifle from 1895.
Phew.
And the family was like, we don't want anything of our brothers, just get rid of all of it. So that rifle, I luckily had a firearm dealer in my network, and I went to him and I said, "Hey, I found this rifle. Can you help me with the process? Like, what do I do with it?" So just being able to reach out to professionals has really helped me to better serve my clients.
Nice. So speaking of having experience and network to better serve your clients, I know you mentioned, we talked before about your military experience. Thank you for your service in the Marine Corps. Talk a little bit about how that prepared you. I think that, my understanding of Marines is you guys do a lot of difficult work and hard work, and you work as a team uh, towards the mission. How did your military experience prepare you for this business?
So the Marine Corps, I served 5 years in the Marines, and I was an F-18 mechanic, and the Marines really helped transform me. I needed to go to the Marine Corps to really get some discipline, and during my time there, I received two meritorious promotions. I was promoted to PFC, Private First Class in boot camp, and I also picked up the rank of corporal meritoriously as well. Um, During my time as a Marines, I was in charge of 13 aircraft and 13 Marines. So the discipline that I learned and the leadership skills that I learned have been very valuable to me now that I have my small business. Um, the I'm very grateful for my time with the Marine Corps, and it's just been a tremendous skill set that I learned during that time.
Now, when you say you're Marine Corps and aircraft, were you stationed at Lemoore?
Hey, so I did my C school training in Lemoore. So I did boot camp in MCRD in San Diego, and then I spent time in Pensacola, Florida. And from
Wow.
Pensacola, I went to Lemoore, and then from Lemoore, I got stationed in Miramar in San Diego.
Oh, nice. Home of Top Gun. One of my best friends was a chaplain, Navy chaplain, but the Marines have Navy chaplains to service them. And he and his wife were stationed in Lemoore for quite a while. And he was also stationed at um, in San Diego as well. So you guys may have come across each other. It's a small world. Were you ever
It is.
stationed with aircraft on the aircraft carrier?
So we had the Delta version of the F-18, so it's a two-seater aircraft. So we didn't go on the boat. Instead, we did two Western Pacific deployments to Iwakuni, Japan, and we would island hop all the way over to Japan. So
Wow.
so like our last deployment, we went to Hawaii and we spent time in Oahu, and then from there our aircraft were flying over to Wake Island and then to Guam. But on route, two aircraft had to divert to Midway Island, and I was fortunate to be on the crew that went out there to fix them. And Midway Island, you're not allowed to go there unless you're a researcher or you have permission. So just being able to see the old World War II fortifications with everything still intact, it looks like they just got on a plane and left everything behind. And it's just like little experiences like that that I was able to experience, and I'm very grateful that I was able to be a part of that.
I know it's difficult for service members to transition back in the civilian business world. The thing that I see so clearly is that the training is so applicable because you're in your case, and so many cases, involved with very complicated equipment, huge amounts of assets that most people in the working world never are involved with. Like when you say you were crew on 13 aircraft, I mean, I imagine each one's got to be a $5-10 million or more, plane. That's hundreds of millions of dollars of assets that you're responsible for. Most people in the civilian world never have that kind of responsibility. And so I think for those people who are looking to hire you and your company now to trash out a house should understand that that's the kind of training and background that you have. And I just always find it's hard to find the applicable training, but the lessons are completely applicable. Meaning, I'm sure it's hard to find jobs in servicing aircraft because it's a competitive world. But in your case, if you can apply the lessons of I'm sure preparation and systems and procedures and accountability, if you can apply that to your business successfully, you're going to be successful. And that's, I'm sure, what the core of your success is.
It definitely is. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have all that experience.
Yeah. Also speaking of experience, I know it's a little personal, but I think you're okay discussing a little bit. Talk a bit about your wife's experience and how that caused you to help families, maybe not client type families, but help families in different transition as well.
Yeah. So my wife Megan, she was born with a liver disease called biliary atresia. So it was like a blockage in the bile ducts, and her family always knew that she would eventually need a transplant. And me and her, we met in high school, and I had to become a Marine before she took me seriously.
Wow.
But we, we we got married, and during that time, she started getting sicker, and finally in 2016, she had to fly to Jacksonville, Florida, with her mom, and she stayed out there for a year, waiting for a liver transplant to become, or waiting for a liver to become available. And she had to fly out there because if she had stayed here in Los Angeles County, the population density is just so dense that there really was, even with a high MELD score, the probability of her receiving a transplant was very low. So the fact that we had a caretaker in her mom that was able to go with her and stay out there for that year, we're very fortunate that I was able to stay behind working, keeping that health insurance. And that experience, it made me realize that, there's families out there that they don't have that support. They don't have the financial means to do something like that.
Right.
So now we're fortunate that we have LA Trash Junkers. And part of the process of LA Trash Junkers is we do the clean outs, and we come across a lot of items that are still in good condition. So we're trying to minimize what we take to the landfill. And we have a online thrift store right now where my wife sells things, through eBay, Poshmark, Macari, and like those online sites. But the goal is to build up this online thrift store, and then use the proceeds to help families financially that are going through the transplant process.
Well, it's very motivating to hear people who go through these difficulties come back and want to help other people, and I'm sure it also bleeds over to your working with people as you do your business. I think all of us who've had various family setbacks, one way we therapeutically work through that is through our business and opportunity of helping other people. So just real quick, some housekeeping, kind of update everybody where we're at. Xavier Figueroa is proprietor of LA Trash Junkers. You can go to LATrashjunkers.com. You can get more information about them. You can hit the contact us, and you can get more information about them. Like I said, if you go on his website, you'll see some pretty interesting work in process photos. And then on there as well has a link if you have questions about pricing, how they charge by the truck. And in my experience with this is, you better trust the people you work with, because there's companies that are dishonest, and you want to work with somebody who's connected to people that know you, so that they'll be kind of forced to be honest. That's why like I said, he's with a fiduciary roundtable, and his business referrals, because he's definitely trustworthy. I'm Bill Gross. This is the Estate Planning Podcast, and we do this every week. We have a Facebook group that we'd love to have you post any estate planning related content to as well. And we also look for people who have referrals, who can look for real estate agents, attorneys, vendors. Feel free to put requests in there, as well as promote yourself. We'd love to help you build your business. So let's talk a little bit, Xavier, about the business side, right? The people in the roundtable are also like you and me, proprietors, business people. Your business is based on a referral. Where do you see kind of the economy currently, and what, if anything, do you see changing in your business going forward?
Yeah, so right now, I'm trying to focus on scaling the business. Right now, every clean out, either myself or my wife are on site managing the clean out. So the goal is to get off the truck by next year, and really have a team that can go in, and we can just scale the business. Uh, it's an exciting time, for our business. Like we see it growing really quickly. The referrals coming in, they've been so amazing. And it's just high quality referrals that we're receiving. And I feel like the cleanouts are just going to be coming, especially right now. People we're receiving calls that people are trying to clean out the properties ASAP in the San Gabriel Valley, because they're trying to rent them out to the families that were like displaced by the horrible fires that happened in January. But we have we're very optimistic about 2025 being a good year for our business.
Good. I think in most businesses, speed kills. If you can do things quickly, you save your customers time, money, effort, energy. And as a proprietor, it turns over your capital faster. I know I'm in probate real estate commonly, and litigation can drag on and on and on. But if you can push hard and push people to get the paperwork done, in fact, literally this morning we had a case where we had a vendor, it was the probate referee, and they were late by 2 months on finishing the report. And I said to Trey, let me write a little bit on. I'm kind of like a Marine sergeant in real estate, where I don't care what people think if I'm serving my customer, and it requires sometimes pushing people. I'm sure you're the same way with your team. It's one thing to be nice; everybody wants to be happy and pleasant, but when people don't do the job, somebody has to be held accountable. And if you can move quickly, you get things done, you save costs, you save money, you save time. And the most important thing is you have a happy customer, and that becomes important. So talk a little bit about, how do you manage? It's you or your wife, obviously, but it's not just you or your wife. You must have other team members. How do you get team members, and how do you manage them?
Yeah, so we have, so it's me and my wife, and we have 2 employees that we bring in for these cleanouts. And we'll bring in the 2 employees when we have to go through and search for like the valuables and the documents. We'll bag up the trash, and then we'll come in on a separate day. And I've been fortunate enough to get team up with a staffing agency, and they're able to supply me workers who are background checked, drug tested. They have the workers' comp insurance. And I've been able to utilize them to really help me clean out these properties fast.
Nice.
We've been able to do like a 5-truckload clean out in one day.
Wow.
And, we've gotten really efficient at the way that we do these clean outs. And we always go in with the mentality of minimizing what we take to the landfill. So as we're like cleaning out the property, we do a scrap metal recycling pile. We'll have a donation/resell pile, and then of course all the junk items that are just straight trash.
Got it. Well, Xavier, look, I know we can talk forever about LA trash and junk, and it is interesting to talk to you. I've enjoyed meeting you, and again, you come highly recommended because you're coming through the Fiduciary Roundtable, which I think is a great group of people. And because you work with referrals, it kind of forces you to stay in your game. And I think we all kind of need that. So if someone wants to get a hold of you, I know your website we have is latrashjunkers.com. There's a truck. And I would urge anybody, if you're so inclined, if you book with him, ask him to ride in the truck. Ask him to drive the truck. I don't know if he'll let you, but ask him to ride.
You're gonna have to come for a ride, Bill. That'll be fun.
If I could bring my grandson would love it. I have a 3-year-old. He loves trucks. So anyhow, latrashjunkers.com, and then or otherwise that you can contact them. His phone number 562-262-9978. Ask for Xavier. Tell him that you saw him on our podcast. Xavier, thanks so much for being on today. I really appreciate your time.
Bill, thank you for having me. I had a wonderful time. Thank you.
Great. And for the rest of you, this is the estate planning podcast. We get together every week and talk to professionals in the business, try to help us all be better at our business and provide better service to our customers. I'm at Bill Gross Probate. If I can help in any way, please reach out. And as always, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.